Guys, I am excited for this video. A couple of you, well, a little bit more than a couple of you, to be honest, have been talking about Jakus Creates in the brand new video. Was Fortnite Season X actually great? Because if you guys follow the channel, or if you were new here, I have always been, throughout the years of playing this game, have been the biggest supporter of Season X. It still to this day is my second favorite season of all time. It was my favorite season of all time up until Chapter 2 Season 7, which is my new favorite season, but this is an incredibly close second. So Jakus Creates a while ago, and we reacted to the video, so it's a fantastic channel. You should check out Jakus, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. I've been a subscriber since. I've been really enjoying his content. He made a video on Chapter 2 Season 6 and talking about the good stuff about that season. I enjoyed it as a Chapter 2 Season 6 enjoyer myself. Now, I am excited to hear in one of the greatest Fortnite seasons of all time. I'm going to be glazing it. I'm going to be glazing Jakus here. I'm excited, guys. Let's react to Was Fortnite Season X actually great? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's watch this video together.
They say controversy is good for advertising, but what happens if you make enough controversial changes to your game in such a short time that people start to consider it dead? This is the story of the 10th season of Fortnite Battle Royale, and I'm here to defend it.
Yes, love to see it.
Season X, the big one, the final boss of quote-unquote bad Fortnite seasons. Chapter 1 has long been considered to be Fortnite's golden poster boy. Season X is like a big old sore on it. Now, I may just be a dirty casual, but Season X is actually one of my most played Chapter 1 seasons.
It is by far the greatest season in Chapter 1. And for me, too, the playtime was insane. And it was a short season, too, by the way. It was a very short season. In this season, man, I know I said this on the channel, but for those of you who watch the channel regularly, I was stuck on a 1 to 11 shift at the time, and it just worked out every single day, every single night. I would come home, I'd play with my brother Josh, Garrett, and Brandon on the channel. We would play Season X, drop Tilted Town, run around with the mechs, play with these fun items every single night. It was one of my favorite seasons of all time. It was all of our favorite seasons of all time. It was so good. I played in it so much.
I loved it, but to discuss it, I think we need to start with this biggest point of contention. The mech, the Brute, the destroyer of sweats. The Brute was a rather massive two-player mech vehicle with built-in stomping, shotguns, and missiles. If that sounds kinda absolutely insane, well, it was, and people hated it. So much so that hashtag remove the mech was trending worldwide on Twitter for several days.
Yeah, and I will defend them till the day I die. Nobody, and you know what? I'm not here to argue that they weren't overpowered. They weren't after the nerf, by the way. But nobody, and I've said this on the channel, guys, I'm going to repeat myself because I know I've had these talking points throughout the channel, but we're watching a video on Season X here. Nobody ever wanted to actually fight against the mechs. Nobody wanted to find a counter. Nobody wanted to use boogie bombs. Nobody wanted to shoot the guy inside the mech. They wanted to, instead of countering or running away or doing anything to avoid contact with that mech, because it is very easy to beat, and it was very evident once they returned back in, what was it, Chapter 2, Season 8? Nobody tried to fight against it. They just screamed, cried, moaned, and whined about it. That's all they did regarding the mech. Nobody found a way around it. It was so easy to kill those things, especially if you had a squad. Laser them with the AR. They didn't have that much health.
And, well, yeah, they were too much. For the first week.
That's what everyone forgets. That's what everybody forgets. They got nerfed. And they were fine.
In every single subsequent update, the mech was nerfed and nerfed into the ground until it literally just self-destructed as soon as it hit the ground. Visual updates to make it easier to spot, reductions in how much ammunition it holds, the removal of its ability to harvest materials, cooldown time charges, and so many more nerfs that the mech in August 2019 and the mech in September 2019 are basically two different beasts.
And everybody was still crying about them.
I think that people are totally justified to dislike the mech, but I think a lot of people just remember those crazy first few days before it got nerfed and incorrectly assume it remained like that for the entire season.
Absolutely, and to be honest with you, I agree with that. I wholeheartedly am like, I'm that type of person where we all like different things, okay? It is totally okay to not like the mechs, it's totally okay to not like Season X. But to argue that this wasn't over-exaggerated is crazy to me. It was unbelievably over-exaggerated.
Maybe they even quit due to that and never came back despite the changes. I think its reworked counterpart, the salvaged Brute from Chapter 2 Season 8, is a much more balanced vehicle. It's weaker, deals less damage, and always spawns in the same 2 spots, so it can be prepared for and destroyed before anyone even gets in.
And do you remember there were people there actually camping those, just so nobody could use the mech?
Another point of controversy for Season X was the map. As beloved as the Chapter 1 island is in retrospect, a lot of people were getting kind of bored of it after 2 years. Plus, after years of updates, it was becoming pretty full, and Season X only added on to that with its rift zones.
And that's another thing that I can't stand. I can't stand. Everybody talks about, hey, I didn't want this map. Oh, why can't we go back to later Chapter 1? The map was so good then. Everybody was begging to get off of this map in Chapter 1 Season 9 and Chapter 1 Season X. You couldn't go 2 steps in this community without hearing that. The hypocrisy from this community is absolutely something else. Now, guys, again, it's very important to note that I am speaking in general. You might be different from the vast majority of the Fortnite community. And typically, by the way, when we talk about the community complaining and crying about something, it's a loud minority. It was not a loud minority when it came to Season X. It was the majority of the player base.
Now, personally, I actually really loved the Season X map, but a lot of the community didn't. And I think it was this reaction that dissuaded Epic from radically changing the following Chapter 2 island much during its 2 years of updates.
I sit on that belief as well, man. Jakus I've been following this guy on Twitter and watching his videos, and I can't believe that somebody so close to like my level here in YouTube I didn't know about making like such phenomenal videos. The videos are way more well built than mine, to be honest with you. I can't even really compare myself. I meant in like numbers and stuff like that, right? But this dude is full of just perfectly solid takes. I'd argue the correct takes.
Pretty much every Chapter 2 biome or POI edition would be reverted or replaced after just a season or 2, and I think that's because Epic were afraid of repeating the history here. Now, this seems like a good time to talk about the Rift Zones. Rift Zones were a unique feature that haven't really been seen since, where POIs were replaced by altered versions of themselves.
It was the reason why we played so much in Season X, like my squad specifically I'm talking about. They were so fun, so unique, and it's a shame that Epic Games never got back on that train.
Previous locations with special attributes. The season kicked off with the return of Dusty Depot and the factories. The depot is the only Rift Zone to not have any special quirk, as it was introduced right at the start of the season. It was actually teased during the World Cup finals, and this was a big deal. That's kind of strange, considering it was such a mediocre POI. I mean, come on man, it had 3 chests in Season 3.
It was hype for me too, though. Like, Dusty Depot was a really fun POI. I will argue that because it was so little loot. It's in the middle of the map. People can shoot you from all over the place. So I remember the day that teaser dropped and everybody going absolutely crazy online. It was a great time.
I think the actual Rift Zone part was the massive meteor that hung overhead with a low gravity effect.
I actually never thought about that.
This was a really cool spot in fairness. Although the loot was a bit of a nothing sandwich, Loot Lake also became a pseudo rift zone with the same low gravity effect around the exploding zone.
I loved it, and it was beautiful to be in. The graphics were stunning. They were beautiful. I loved going into mech, and I loved floating with it, raining down the rockets, stomping on people, but I loved jumping in there, the shotgun fights. The rift zones diversified the gameplay constantly, and I loved it for that reason.
0 point. At this point, Loot Lake is so far removed from the original version that it's actually become a really good POI. Next came Tilted Town, an asset flip of Ghost Town from Save the World that is a Wild West version of Tilted Towers. The cool thing about this POI is that you couldn't build or break anything while inside of it.
Welcome to Tilted Town. No built-in. No, oh my god, I just messed that up. No building, no breaking. This, I landed here more than any time in Season X. It was very unique at the time. You know what's funny is how everybody loves Zero Build now, right? Here's a Season X hypocrisy again. Everybody loved Fortnite Zero Build. And don't tell me the skill gap was different back then. Everybody was still sweating. Everybody was going nuts. Everybody was fantastic at the game back then. I loved it. I loved playing Zero Build, and everybody hated Zero Build. Oh, you're taking away Fortnite's identity. Fortnite's a building game. I fell in love with Fortnite because of the building mechanic, and now they release it in Chapter 3, and they all love it. Man!
Which made it very unique to fight in. The only issue is that if you got a mech inside, well, no one else stood a chance.
But that was the fun. That was the fun. You knew the risk of going in Tilted Town, and because you couldn't break anything, you had to hide. Some of the most fun games I've ever had was when a team had a squad of mechs or 4 mechs. I don't care. If there was a mech in Tilted Town, you were hiding in houses like it was a horror movie. It was scary. It was fun, and it's something Fortnite has not had since. I have not had that same feeling with any mythic weapon, anything. That's the closest we could get to hiding from the John Wick skin in the OG days, and it was better in my opinion because there's this giant machine walking around.
Retail Row returned next, bringing with it the cube monsters from Fortnite Mares 2018. This area was really high risk, high reward, and I totally respect that. It was a really cool way of doing the zombies that wasn't super over the top. But I know that for the die-hard Retail Row community, they probably weren't too happy about the infestation. The soccer stadium's Rift Zone malfunctioned, and it just kinda erased it from existence.
That one actually was a little bit, that one sucked a little bit. They could have done something better. But to speak on Retail Row, I loved the idea of having zombies in one POI because I thought it was fun back in Chapter 1, Season 6, when you were fighting and you had to also dodge all of these zombies constantly knocking down your build, constantly overwhelming you. Again, it diversified the gameplay, and that was amazing to me. But this soccer field, man, the power-ups were nice. If I remember correctly, they were broken for the first little part. You couldn't get a couple things, but regardless, it's just an empty POI. They just deleted the soccer stadium. Why not just have those things spawn inside the soccer stadium, right?
And yeah, that one was pretty bad. However, it did have a unique foraged item type that can't be found anywhere else, known as Glitched, which would cycle through various foraged items, including the elusive Hop Rocks and Shadow Stones. Pandora was the next Rift Zone POI. The first of 2 collab Rift Zones, it brings the desert from Borderlands into the game, with shield recharging and cash? Yeah, I don't know either. The next Rift Zone is one of my favorites.
Oh, but we didn't talk about Borderlands, guys, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I really don't, because it diversified the gameplay. It's the last time I'm going to say it. That's so good for a game to do, though, man. Borderlands, you gain shield. It was just different. As a Borderland fan myself, it was beautiful to look at. The graphics changing, although it did replace a really good POI, it was still incredible, man.
It's the Cube Island from Season 6, but merged with the Motel Landmark.
Such a good idea!
It's my favorite unnamed locations, and it floated around the map each day for the rest of the season. I think that was pretty cool, even if it didn't really have a gimmick beyond just being a floated POI.
It should have had a gimmick. It should have had something to do with Kevin. Like, you know how Kevin had a bunch of gimmicks back in Chapter 1, Season 5 when you shoot it? I think it struck the person closest to it with lightning or something. But you could have done something with the cube. I think that would have been perfect for it.
It was still damn cool. The next 2 Rift Zones arrived in the same update and are both incredibly controversial. Moisty Palms and Gracie Grove. Moisty was a mashup of Paradise Palms and Moisty Mire, where crouching would turn the player into a random prop, and Greasy Grove was Taco Takeover of the original, with a taco time effect every 45 seconds.
Taco time was hilarious. Taco time was awesome. Taco time, sitting there, and you're fighting somebody. You heal, by the way. So if you're like got shot and you were low on health, you would run away from somebody to like hopefully come on Taco time, come on Taco time, come on Taco time, heal me Taco time, or if you guys were fighting each other and then you both started doing the da 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 da, and it was so long too. I don't remember how long it was. I want to say like 13 seconds, 9 seconds, something like that. You would be sitting there shaking your tacos and just to see who can be the first one to shoot their pump shotgun and kill the other guy. That was a blast. And the fact that when you were first hot dropping, when it first happened, everybody in the entire town was dancing while they're trying to get their loot. It was incredible. Somebody was gliding in. Oh, better not be taco time. That was hilarious to me. And Moisty Palms, prop hunt. Yeah, you could have changed it to, the crouch button was a little bit annoying, but you could have changed it to something else. Change it to something on the D-pad like we had with augments. I loved playing prop hunt. I loved hiding his chairs. It was fun. It was fun. I've always said, guys, they should have kept the Rift Zones and just keep them out of competitive arena at the time. Get him out of arena. There we go. We have a happy medium. I just don't get it, man.
They made everyone dance, kind of like a boogie bomb. Okay, I can't really defend those Rift Zones that much. Greasy Grove was always one of my favorite POIs, and while Taco Time was undoubtedly hilarious,
fucking Taco Time!
It did make me avoid dropping here. And Moisty Palms? Well, at least they brought the prison back.
And they merged together Moisty Mire and Paradise Palms, 2 of the greatest POIs ever.
Tilted Town was replaced by the other collab POI, Gotham City. where glider redeploy is always on. I'm not a huge Batman guy, but I really liked this Rift Zone. The glider redeploy in a high population led to some fast-paced action and quick battles, which was
Absolutely, and the POI was beautiful to look at. It was one of my favorite iterations of Tilted, to be honest with you.
super fun and pretty much exactly what you want in a tilted type POI.
Yes.
And finally the Starry Suburbs, a modernized take on the old set of ruined buildings that used to be in the same spot when the game first launched.
The greatest POI of all time, the most wholesome POI of all time, the most beautiful POI of all time, raining down shooting stars on these houses that we grew up with the OG days, those broken down houses finally built. It was the most incredible, in the music that played once you entered this POI. I loved it.
This is easily my favorite Rift Zone. It's such a cute, quaint little suburb.
Jakus again strikes with a W take.
And the falling stars mechanic that gave really good loot was really cool. And that's the Season X map.
Well, and you could get a gold tactical SMG from it, which was a big deal when that thing returned. In the gold form too? Woo!
Like I said, I do totally understand why people were not too happy with the map at this time. And with all the chaotic rift zones and messy locations, it may have been a bit overwhelming. But personally, I absolutely adored it. I remember when the Chapter 2 map was first leaked, I was genuinely heartbroken to be leaving this one. But hey, Chapter 2 ended up being my favorite map, so maybe change is good.
Oh my god, I agree with this guy. Oh my god.
Another common misconception of the season was that the loot pool was insanely bloated and cluttered. It makes sense, right? It's the last season before they hit the reset button in Chapter 2, with 10 seasons of items building up and filling the loot pool with more and more weapons. Well, actually, it wasn't even as bad as I remembered. They vaulted a ton of stuff at the start of the season and introduced some legitimately really well-balanced items.
So this was the entire loot pool. I remember a lot of it. I don't remember the turrets. Oh, turrets are vaulted. Excuse me. I was about to say I don't remember the turrets actually being vaulted. But yeah, the loot pool wasn't bad. It was just the junk rifts and the storm flips that people really had an issue with, which wasn't even that bad. The proximity launcher wasn't that bad either. It was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. I loved using the zapper traps. It was phenomenal. The Batman mythics were great. The flint knocks always fun. This is a great
One of
loot
my
pool.
all-time favorite utility items is the shield bubble, which just creates a nice shield to protect you from gunfire for a short time. And that was introduced this season. There's also other stuff like the automatic sniper rifle, which was pretty bad at the start, but they buffed it later on.
New weapons, new map changes, new items. Weekly.
Compare it to Season 9, which introduced a new weapon or item in 12 of the 13 updates, many of which are absolutely insane, like the airstrike, or just kind of fillery, like the proximity grenade launcher. Suddenly Season X looks a lot more balanced, right? Sure, there was still some filler. The zapper trap comes to mind, but
I loved the zapper trap, man. That was so useful. One of the most underrated items in Fortnite.
Overall, the BR team actually did a really great job of keeping the loot pool balanced this season. I suppose people tend to overlook stuff like that when the mech is running rampant. The Battle Pass. This is easily the best Battle Pass in Fortnite history, hands down.
Agreed.
You start off the pass with Catalyst.
Well, that or Chapter 2 Season 2.
Fantastic female variant of Drift with tons of awesome styles, and X-Lord, a really cool variant of Rustlord with a scavenger post-apocalyptic feel.
Sorry to put a little bit of pause on here, but that poor locker UI. Look how good it looks, man. Look how good that UI is. Season X's UI was perfect.
Filter Technique is a personal favorite of mine, especially the hooded styles. Yonder is an absolutely glorious remix of DJ Yonder. Sparkle Supreme and Eternal Voyager are both fantastic outfits with great style options, and closing out the pass is Ultima Knight, one of the best tier 100 skins to date.
I still use their emotes from Season X, by the way. I love the bottle flip. I love jaywalking. One of my favorite emotes of all time was that. Oh my god, I loved everything about it. The raps, it was perfect.
All they had to do to make the perfect battle pass was just remix skins from previous Chapter 1 battle passes and make them better than ever before. It's just like a best hits for Fortnite battle passes.
And that's what I was so excited for Chapter 2, by the way, is their version of Season X. But I should have seen it coming, man. I should have seen it coming that they would not go with a Season X for Chapter 2. They wouldn't do the same type of thing.
And the rest of the pass is jam-packed full of fan service with lobby tracks, including the original theme music and a remix of the Final Showdown events theme, sprays depicting tilted towers and the
Tra-la-la was there too. Amazing emote. Still use that to this day.
Superheroes from Season 4, the introduction of hand-drawn 2D loading screens with some truly beautiful artwork,
Oh my
and
God,
the
yeah.
adorable Kitsune backbling. The secret skin was the Scientist, a member of the Seven. He was so mysterious when he was introduced, but he would later be revealed to be one of the most charming and funny story characters in all of Fortnite.
Don't forget about the Visitor tapes or the Scientist tapes, bringing in some of the most interesting Fortnite storyline we have ever seen at all times.
Plus, his set is just really great. Also, shout out to you if you recognize the name Visitor Volta. That's a real throwback. The story this season was really exciting. We had no idea what was in store for the future, with a mysterious space-time orb in the middle of Loot Lake.
Yeah, you remember when everybody was calling it the orb? What's the orb? Everybody was calling it that. It was so funny.
A new variant of the Visitor hacking mechs at Dusty Depot, and the Meteor ominously floating overhead. Listening to the Visitor tapes towards the end of the season as the Scientist put his plan into action was really exciting.
And the community came together. Everybody was listening to them. Everybody was trying to piece it together. And still to this day, like, remember, when I hear this again, I'll use this one. For example, when I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, I just be as muted as the others? What does that mean? You remember everybody speculating, having all of these theories? It was one of the most fun times to be a Fortnite fan, man. It was one of the most fun times to be a Fortnite player.
The foreshadowing for the reveal of the Imagined Order, the bridge, and more in 2020 was really well done.
It was like an Attack on Titan level of foreshadowing.
And it all culminated in perhaps one of the best live events ever made.
The best live event ever made.
The end. The end was truly a spectacle. We watched the rocket take off, just as it did in June 2018, before suddenly ripping a hole in the atmosphere. Joined by 6 other rockets, we're finally introduced to the Seven.
The
We
music,
took the Meteor and slammed it straight into Loot Lake, causing a massive explosion that then imploded inward, sucking everything into nothing. And that was Fortnite for 2 whole days.
I'll stop it there for a second. What did I just see? Oh my God, what did I just see for a second? But I will stop it there for a second because this still makes me sad to this day a little bit, like nostalgically, because I had a friend who quit in Chapter 2 because he hated it. Hi, baby. Hi, sorry, my dog loves Season X too. Hi, Sonny, do you love Season X? Ah, my water. Now I can't drink that. Now I can't drink that. Now I can't drink that. Did you love Season X? Hey? Did you love Season X? Did you love Season X? Do you like Jakus Creates? Is Jakus Creates one of the best Fortnite community members of all time? Is he? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And was Season X the greatest season of all time? Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Daddy's got to finish, okay? Sorry about the pause there. I already forget what I was saying, to be honest with you. Oh, I was talking about the end event. I still get very nostalgic because I had a friend who played in Chapter 1 every single day with me. Didn't like Chapter 2 at all, and him and I watched that end event together. And it just holds such a special memory to me because it just makes me miss Chapter 1 and my friend. Like, I don't really miss Chapter 1. I just miss playing with my friend and all the fun times that I had with him.
The website? Down. The Twitter? Empty. The world's eyes were on Fortnite and the mysterious black hole. It's a masterclass in hype and marketing that no game has ever come close to replicating.
Absolutely.
Hey, no game may ever come close to replicating.
I don't think a game ever will, to be honest with you. It's really hard to believe if a game could ever come back to that.
Fortnite was the #1 worldwide trending topic on Twitter. It was a massive risk for Epic Games to shut down the servers of their most profitable IP for 2 whole days, but it paid off tremendously, and the numbers back that up. This season also came right after the World Cup final, so this would be the one to define the future of competitive Fortnite. And that happened with the introduction of the Fortnite Champion Series, a seasonal series of high-stakes tournaments with massive prize pools. FNCS would continue every season for the next 3 years before switching to a yearly event with seasonal qualifiers in 2023.
I don't know about you guys, but it's so wholesome watching comp. It's like the vibes to it are spectacular. I love it, man.
Season X also had some really exciting events that many people probably don't even remember looking back, but they were really great for keeping the season engaging and fun for me. There was the Combine, a really unique solo training mode by Epic themselves, which surprisingly never returned. And
yeah, that was a really interesting mode. I never really played it myself. I didn't find it that interesting, but like the idea of it was interesting, and it's a cool addition for those of who did really like that.
Zone Wars, a creative-focused event with a variety of now iconic Zone Wars maps to
You know what's funny? I actually played the Downhill River map recently. I did not know it was in Discovery. I did not know it was the same map. And I got so hyped I was playing it with a couple friends, and one of my friends, I was playing with Brandon and Hannah on the channel, if you guys watch the channel, and Hannah remembered the map instantly, and Brandon was like, what's this map? And I was like, dude, are you kidding me right now, Brandon? We played this map every day. We played Zone Wars all the time. You don't even remember it, and it hurt my heart a little bit, but hey, you know what? At least one person remembered it. But Zone Wars, I still play to this day. I love Zone Wars. I might like Zone Wars more than the actual BR, to be honest with you. I love Zone Wars. I loved it back then. It was so unique, and it was the first time we all really got introduced into creative mode like this. I remember playing it endlessly. I loved it. Still love the skin.
Play with cosmetic prizes and challenges. It might not seem like much, but stuff like this just goes a really long way for keeping a season fresh and exciting.
Absolutely.
And considering there was already so much going on in VR with Rift Zones and the story, events like this are just the content cherry on the content cake. Well, that's Season X. Have I changed your opinion on it?
No, you have not.
Probably not, but hey, I enjoyed it a lot, and that's my case for it being better than you remember. I mean, I might even put it in my top 10 Fortnite seasons of all time. Top 5, maybe. Please don't
It's my second favorite Fortnite season. It was my first for a very long time.
blame me on Twitter.
I swear, dude, the guy is absolutely allergic to bad takes. People might disagree with that, to be honest with you, but hey, nobody's ready. People are finally looking back on that fondly. Now, guys, go subscribe to Jakus Creates. Fantastic channel. I've been watching myself, and I love it. Like, I really, really love to hear what he has to say about, especially Fortnite season topics. I love the Primal one. I loved this one. It was great, guys. Thank you so much for suggesting I watch this video. Go subscribe over. Go show Jakus some love in the pinned comment description down below. Thank you so much for watching it, everybody. If you are interested and if you want to stick around on this channel for now, check out this concept time video where we take a look at some of the greatest Fortnite concepts of all time. I will see you either there or in the next video, guys. Take care.